Good morning, everybody. Want to do a quick one. If you haven't noticed, I've slowed down a little bit just because it's the holidays. So I'm kind of coming in and doing half days, really focused on just trying to streamline some of our last few things before 2017. So today, what I want to talk about was radio. I get asked a lot, why radio? We have a couple radio shows. I've done a few now. One of them was the Average Joe Real Estate Investment Show. Very cool show. And I think I'm going to be bringing that back here pretty soon. I have another show, KSA Insider, that I do. KSA Insider is a pretty cool show because it was born of, I was sitting in for a guy that does a daily show on ESPN, and he's a lawyer, and it was just kind of a unique situation. So I decided to do something that was unique with real estate whenever I would sit in on his show, because I'm not a lawyer. So I started doing kind of like consumer protection based content whenever I would sit in on his show when he wasn't available, and that's what kind of created KSA Insider on ESPN. So why radio? When we first got asked to get on the radio from one of our sponsors, I wasn't interested. I didn't see the value in it, and what I've learned, it's actually probably one of the more valuable things to have, but I want to break down why. I think personally that's important. So will it give you a return as far as more listings and more sales? I don't think there's a tangible return as far as like people that are listening to the show live, because it's a live radio show, and going, oh wow, I need to call this guy and have them list my house. I don't see that as a tangible return. I couldn't tell you a return. What I would say is I have been on a few listing appointments where people have said that they've listened to our show on the radio, and or they've heard about our show on the radio. I think it's more along the lines of when you walk into a listing appointment. When we walk into a listing appointment, we've already structured a whole bunch of things before we ever walked in there. And of course, that's my phone blowing up behind me. We've already structured a bunch of stuff. As soon as somebody reaches out to us, I get their email address. I'm sending them an invite to one of our back-end Google Share drives, which has a whole bunch of content that we're already pushing them and asking them to engage with prior to us sitting down to interview for the job to get their household, right? The radio is just something else that's in there. It's sort of like whenever you see somebody that says, as seen on, it's sort of one of those things. Yes, we are the resident experts in this market. We do know what we're talking about. In fact, we have a radio show, a live radio show at that on ESPN. So that helps as far as a qualifier. Again, that isn't all of it. In fact, I would say, it's less, what I found, radio is less about showing up to listing appointments and saying I'm on the radio, right? Oh my goodness. Every day my phone just blows up. I don't know about you guys, but every day I literally have to go through and clean out all of my messages. Otherwise, my phone is full, and it's just a pain in the butt. So this is the big reason why I think radio is important. What I found, radio is less about somebody else and having that qualifier or actually sitting down and listening to it and engaging with it. Now here's the thing, that's a lot of good stuff too. I do share that content. But it's about the people that you're bringing on the radio. That's what I found to be probably the most beneficial. If you're a real estate agent or an investor and you're on the radio, because you can go either way, and you can have sponsors for any type of show, either or. You're like, oh, I can't do that. Trust me, you can. You just don't know how to do it yet. Maybe one day I'll sit down and tell you how to find somebody that'll do that for you. This is what I would say. If you are smart and you structure who you're bringing on the radio. So example, I did a show on spec builds and development deals. I had a spec builder and a developer that came on the show, and it was a fantastic show, a great hour, and it was good content. And actually, I've used that content from that show to send to other developers, because we do work with developers and builders. I've sent that content to other developers and builders. I'm able to say when I talk to a developer and builder, by the way, we just did a radio show on developments, and that's exactly, felt found. I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. What I found out is this. So I start pre-qualifying us. But the builder, one of the builders that was on the show, turns out we get a $2 million deal with that guy. We brought in a different guy. He's given us a $7.8 million deal, an $11 million deal, a $10 million deal, and a soon-to-be $16.4 million deal. And we brought him on the show. Same as investors. I brought investors on the show, guys that I've wanted to work with. I brought on affiliates that I've wanted to work with. I brought on people that I kind of want to get in our corner. You know, I didn't know a whole lot about solar. Ended up doing a show just on solar, kind of brought on that whole separate niche of a market that we didn't really understand. Now I have a resident expert kind of at our fingertips. It's, you know, more or less one of our affiliates. So why radio? To me, that's the big reason for radio. It's about building relationships if you structure the show appropriately, and it creates content that is, for us at least, the way we're doing it. We're creating content not for real estate agents or we're creating content for investors or potential clients, and in the process we're having on people that we want to work with. So that's why radio. I'm a big fan of it. As far as radio marketing, we've personally never done that, so I couldn't talk to that, but I can talk to actually having a show on radio. If you have any questions, as always, I'm Chris McCullough. You can look me up on Facebook, Instagram, a few other places. You can always give me a call. You can send me an email or send me a PM, and I'll do my best to answer it for you. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.